From AIT Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, this is the O&M Sunday Show with Obiora Ilo and Mamode Akuga.
Hello there and welcome. It's Tuesday night, few minutes after 11. And of course, what else could you be watching on the O&M Late Show? My name is Mamode Akuga, and of course, Obiora, my acting partner, is here tonight on the show. Obiora.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's your show. We are glad you're already seated and watching. Today, we are going to focus on the labor movement in Nigeria, the workers, what they're going through. And then we also have to look at, what a lot of people said was an embarrassing situation at the Eagle Square yesterday. But funny enough, it wasn't just there. In some states, we had that.
Embarrassing.
Then in South Africa, the workers wouldn't let the president of South Africa, Zuma, he had to beat a quick retreat.
Yes, and had to be whisked away.
In the United States this morning, there were demonstrations by workers everywhere.
So I mean, the workers' fight and battle has been on for over a century.
It's a global thing.
Yeah, it's a global thing. It's been on, and it will continue to, happen because workers will always want to better their conditions of service, in our own climate, if you make a comparison, those people who are over there still demonstrating, they've got it really nice.
They're in heaven.
They're in heaven. So compared to our people back here, it's.
But what happened at the Eagle Square was quite unusual. You remember we had the General Secretary.
Yes.
And if you remember a question I asked, I said, is it going to be like a ritual? You come, the government officials, the president, the governors, they make their speeches, and then we go back to what it was.
But he did say that day that it wasn't going to be the usual thing, that it was going to be different. But I did not think that he was banking on what happened.
Oh, what happened?
Yes, because I think it was spontaneous.
It was.
It didn't look like anybody planned it. Workers just got angry by the fact that, Obiora, for what it's worth, I think that, the feeling just spread around that day at the Eagle Square. First, it's a workers' celebration, and it's a day to celebrate workers. So the president is not at liberty, or rather, there was no guarantee that the president must be there.
Yeah, the event.
Because it's a workers' thing. He may not. If he likes to, he want to participate, want to show solidarity with workers, or if he has some kind of government policy statement to make, he might decide to be there. So, but the workers over time had felt that, look, whenever they have a May Day, the president should be there. The president was not there.
The vice president.
The vice president, who ordinarily was sitting for the president, was in faraway Lagos, attending some kind of economic summit put together by an organization, a Christian organization. So, the next person in labor matters after that will be the Honorable Minister. In this case,
who was
there. And
representing the president.
Representing the president. And then the permanent secretary was called to make a speech on behalf of the minister. And
they're not just...
all hell broke loose.
We'll be talking about that tonight because we have the Honorable Minister for Labor. Actually, we had already agreed he would be on this program.
Yeah, we promoted it on Sunday.
On Sunday.
That he was going to be.
We didn't know that there was going to be the
more interesting things to talk about.
So the Honorable Minister is here. So we're going to talk with him and get to know what government is thinking, whether they are worried that the workers are this upset. And the plans, of course, he's continued to say that they have some plans. They're going to look at the minimum wage They are going to look at the pensions and salaries and all that. Well, he's here, so
Yeah, we'll let him talk about that. But you know, something that's really, really bothering me is this situation surrounding the president's health. You know, over time, Obiora, you know my position on this matter. I've always said that, look, it is safer, it is better, it is proper to let Nigerians know the true state of Mr. President's health. If you do that, you take away speculation. All these funny stories, you know, flying
about being on life support,
flying level,
about not eating, about not drinking,
being fed intravenously, and all sorts of funny stories. I mean, save Nigerians all these rumors and fake stories flying left, right, center. Just tell people the truth.
Mamode, you know,
like they say,
speak
the truth.
In other countries, yes, there will be a daily bulletin on the situation of the president's health in other countries.
Well, Obiora, now that, you know, I didn't want to touch on that too much, but now that you've gone there, I think that it will be very proper to describe most of the people in this government as hypocrites, because they are being very hypocritical in their actions, in their utterances, and in everything they do. And I mean, I could just name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them right away. What you talked about now was the request that the Honorable Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, made when Yar'Adua was ill. And so he said, no, we need to get a daily briefing on the president's health. You know, and here we are, 2017.
And his information minister.
And his information minister, and the president's health, I mean, is not 100%. He himself has confessed to Nigerians that, look, I've never been this sick all my life. So he doesn't attend Federal Executive Council meeting. He's not seen at his grandson's wedding. He's not seen at the Jumat service, which he frequents regularly. And everybody, you know, tongues are wagging. And then there's no word from the Minister of Information. So, I don't know. They are being very hypocritical. And that's the absolute proper description.
I think the summary is what Obama told President Trump. You know, it feels differently when you're talking from outside than when you are in government and you're faced with all the realities.
And if you put it at the presidential level, at the office of the president himself, you know, in 2010, I mean, you remember what he said when Yar'Adua was faced with a situation like this. He called for an impeachment. You know, so it's a situation of, you know, what goes around, you know, comes around, as it were. So that's why I use the word that a lot of people in this government have been hypocritical, you know, and
they want to be judged differently.
Yeah, you know, every day I look at it, it's like Raji Fashola, you know, was telling the last government, look, any serious government will fix power in 6 months.
Yes.
Hey, you've been minister for a year and a half, going to 18 months now, much more than 6. This government, 29th of this year, will be 2 years in office. And our life situation is not any better.
It's becoming even more challenging. Well, there's a glimmer of hope. Yes. The president's wife says, my husband is not as bad as we think. She was on Twitter today.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, a lot of Nigerians see her as, you know, someone who says it the way it is.
I think that she's probably the only person that a lot of Nigerians would listen to and trust
that was
right now.
That was why I felt a lot better
in this administration. Yes,
you know, it helped for her to say that.
Yeah, and she's been very forthcoming and forthright and very open in her comments.
Anyway, tonight we said we are talking labor. The Minister of Labor is here.
Yes.
So we'll take our usual break, and when we return, we'll serve you Dr. Chris Ngige, not for dinner, but for you to just listen.
Don't go away.
watching Nigeria's biggest late night show.
Without him enjoying his 90 days, he did all that within 2 days. Yet, INEC didn't
Okay, let me ask this question so that
Please.
No, I want this, please.
No,
It's
not everything that the president goes to everywhere prognosing. In Agatu area you're talking about, the president put up a special presidential panel. How can the executive come and give us the rule that regulates our conduct within the National Assembly? That is interference.
For us to get the real budget as presented by Mr. President with the corrections, go through the budget process, pass it so that things will start moving.
The name of the immediate past president owns a plot on the Metama Hill. Desiani Alice Maduike owns a plot on the Metama Hills. Then companies were also used to cover the faces of some individuals and Nigerians.
And the Attorney General, by virtue of his position, he is the only minister given such immense powers created in the Constitution by Section 150. Now, that kind of person should be careful when exercising those powers.
I am a proud Igbo woman and a proud Nigerian, and I have served this country. I love this country. Come to think of it, I'm not married to an Igbo man. I married a Yoruba Muslim.
I saw Bomali bedroom. Many people don't know that. You know, Bomali is like Elijah. I'm Elisha. Okay. I have the double portion.
When would the African people come together?
O&M Late Show and O&M Sunday Show with Obiora Ilo and Mamudia Kuga. Tuesdays, 11 p.m. and on Sunday, 2 p.m.
Yes, this is your O&M show. And tonight we're looking at labor, the plight of workers, and of course the incidents that happened here and there on Monday.
Yes.
And Dr. Chris NGIGE, former senator, former governor, and
current minister
of Labor and Productivity, is here with us.
Yes. Dr. Chris NGIGE, I may add, referred to in some quarters as Igbo leader.
You're welcome, sir.
Obi Mahmoud.
Welcome.
You know, this television station,
Yes.
when I tell people I'm coming here, APC members, they will say you're going to enemy station.
To enemy station.
Enemy base. But I'm not afraid of you guys. I come here all the time. By the time I leave, the people who say they own this place as enemy base, they know that they cannot really finish APC.
No, but we're not, we're not enemies.
We are not. We
We're
are
actually
not.
friends,
Yes.
and we mean well for the APC.
Okay.
And even when PDP was malfunctioning,
yes,
we said so very loudly, and some of us wanted the PDP government out. But you know, in that same vein, we have not been very satisfied with the expectations. Yes, that's the truth of the matter.
So, Honorable
you will be. By the time you will be. You'll be. I can assure you.
Anyway, we always hear that, Honorable Minister.
No, you'll be.
We've heard it since the last, going to 2 years now. But let's go back to last Monday. Were you surprised? Because I saw a couple of you, you, the speaker, the Senate, everybody was looking like they were surprised. Could any one of you be surprised?
Did I look surprised?
So you knew. You were not surprised at something like that?
I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, well, that was.
I've been dealing with labor people.
I think it was a misread for me because I saw a lot.
They are my people. And it's my constituency.
I was wondering why
I discussed with them.
Any one of you should be surprised, knowing what Nigerians are going through. Why would any one of you be surprised that workers said, "No, we're not going to march past. We're not going to let anybody talk because we're not." Then a lot of our salaries are not paid, allowances are not paid. I don't think anybody should have been surprised by what happened that day.
Well, I wasn't surprised. This is because at the last negotiation meeting for the minimum wage, at which we are adjourned to meet again next week, Tuesday on the 9th. Labour wanted us to empanel a minimum wage committee. And we rushed our deliberations, made moves to see if we can be able to get that stage of negotiations concluded so that the next phase will be the Federal Executive Council. We were not able to do so, and we postponed to, or we adjourned to meet again on the 9th. They were worried, their leaders were worried, because they wanted something to offer to their people. You know, the labor movement, just like if you go to the National Assembly. When I first came to the National Assembly, I was so surprised at certain things that were happening, because I came from an executive background. No. But by the time I stayed there, I started imbibing some of those culture. In the National Assembly, we behave like we are school children in the dormitory. Yes, we had our head prefect, David Mack, then. So it's the same thing with labor. They have their nuances, they have their categorization, they have their characteristics. So when their leaders noticed that they couldn't control them, they only had to acquiesce to their demands. And what was the cause of the problem? The problem was that my permanent secretary or acting permanent secretary was to read my speech, the speech of the Honorable Minister, and deliver messages which we had as government. Yeah. And then I will in turn read that of Mr. President, whom I'm representing at the occasion, because I couldn't have come there and read two speeches. That was even the formula we used last year. And that is what is always applied in such situations. So they felt that if my permanent secretary reads my own speech, that I wouldn't come out again. But by the time their leaders started explaining, they were offended, and most of the people were not really workers, from what we discovered. That was why it was not easy to control them. There was a misgrill. They brought in people from NANS, students. They brought people from civil societies.
Who brought them?
No, they were invited by the leadership.
As usual.
Well, as usual, they said. And also they suspected too that there were some infiltrations. But nevertheless, what happened was not out of ordinary. In a Labor Day celebration, workers can do some agitation. They can. It's allowed. If you go to the labor law, picketing is also allowed. They can picket an organization, they can picket an institution, they can picket, but picketing can take various forms. So what happened yesterday, if you like, you can call it very mild picketing, very mild agitation. Because the number of the people that surrounded the podium and were agitating, they were very infinitesimal. It's not less than 1% of the people there. If you look at the cameras, you will see people in their various stands, the various unions. They were in their various stands, waiting after the speech to come and march.
But Honorable Minister, what happened for a lot of Nigerians was a little bit unusual, even if you say it wasn't. Even when you tried to speak, they said no. Even when you offered to give them one of their own, who was between people, Adam Shomole, to say, look, talk to you are one of them, talk to them, and they have respect for you. They still did not, bulge. Could it be that this was just a reflection of the fact that the workers are seriously unhappy with this government, over the insensitive nature this government has handled workers' welfare, especially the discussion about their minimum wage?
No, the word insensitive nature is very hard and harsh on the government.
Because did you have anything?
No, we are a labor-friendly government. I can tell you.
On a labor day,
if you listen,
you were
I will tell
going to meet them at their rally. What was, because like you said, you already know that on a labor day anything can happen. They can agitate. They can do it. And because of the way the country was and the hardship, what was that ray of hope you were going to offer them?
We were going to offer them most of the things that will make for decent work. That's what is there. You see, there is no gainsaying that there have been inflation. There have been
hyperinflation.
Call it hyper.
No, I'm trying to put it in.
Are you an economist? I don't know, but there have been some erosion of the value of the naira. But it's not everything that is dollarized. Yes. So, some components are not dollarized. So, but when people now talk, erosion of the naira, dollar is this, that, everything is not dollarized. Our gari is not dollarized. Our yam is not dollarized. The staple food we take here, they're not dollarized. So there are still components, a large component, 80% of the components of what we do here is naira based. So, but what I'm telling you is that we have been a very worker friendly government. You will not know it. I start in a recessed economy, an economy that had gone into recession through no fault of ours, but the fault of the previous government, who refused to save anything. When they sold oil at $110 a barrel, and we are producing 2.2 million barrels, our OPEC quota, full capacity, they saved nothing. Instead of saving, they got us debts. So I'm coming. We have, in this kind of situation, we did not lay off civil servants or public workers. We did not. Not only did we not, we went ahead to even recruit. We recruited about 10,000 policemen. We are recruiting through the Federal Civil Service Commission. Some parastatals are advertising and recruiting in a recessed economy. Mark you, a recessed economy is like somebody that is unconscious. Economic unconsciousness. And we are still moving our fingers, our hands, opening our mouth and talking, and then we are doing these things for workers. After the recruitment, we didn't stop our recruitment. We gave our bailout funds. Bailout Fund 1, Bailout Fund 2 last year, for the state governments to pay their workers, backlog of salaries and allowances. No other government has ever done that in Nigeria. No federal government. We didn't stop there. The Paris Club, we discovered that there were overpayments. We are doing refund. We are doing refunds to the state governments and saying, this is an extra that you shouldn't have paid in the first instance. And they got them. So we didn't do any redundancy. We didn't declare redundancy clause, which we are permitted to do by the labor law, Article 20. We can remove some workers. We can shed weight. We didn't. We went to Economic Council, which is chaired by the Vice President, and forced state governments again not to shed weight. Instead, let them look inwards. Let them slash whatever is excess expenditure in terms of recurrent expenditure so that they'll be able to do their personnel costs. So this government has done what they're supposed to do. We didn't stop at all these things where we've told you now. We didn't stop at that. When the pump price of petrol was raised, we realized that we needed to do something. First, to cushion the effect, and secondly, to put more money into the pocket of workers, even if it is for transportation purposes alone. So we put up the minimum wage committee, technical committee, composed of labor and government. And we met. We sat for months. Because we needed to put up a minimum wage law that will be obeyed by all. Why? Because the Minimum Wage Act covers everybody in Nigeria. It covers the people in government and government institutions, public service.
There are attempts to move it from the executive list to concurrent.
No, you can't do that. It's in the exclusive list. That's what you do.
Yeah, but there are attempts from the National Assembly to try to move it from Labour has been shouting about it to move it from exclusive list to concurrent list. They should not shout.
It's one of the grievances they had in Eagle Square.
Yes.
Because their leaders pumped them and said that the National Assembly is